Welcome to Systems Alliance. My name is Jexy, and in this video, we're going to go ahead and check out Google's announcement of their new gaming platform. So a few months back, you might remember that Google has been testing a new gaming platform for a while because they did something called Project Stream, where I think the main game used was Assassin's Creed, and what they were trying to do with it was basically use Wi-Fi, use the new 5G networks, all of that stuff, and trying to basically wherever you are that has a screen that can run Google Chrome, you can basically through Wi-Fi get that game directly to whatever device that is. So whether it's a PC, gaming console, laptop, whatever can run Google Chrome, it was able to run the game. That being said, even with that, there was still a little bit of latency going on, a little bit of lag, nothing bad, nothing you wouldn't find in any game, but just something that wasn't quite ideal if you say had the game and you were just doing it right there from your own console, no internet involved, just you in the game. So even at Google's headquarters where they were doing this, where obviously Google has their own internet, their best Wi-Fi, everything, it wasn't perfect, but it was pretty close. Hardcore gamers might see the difference, but in general, it was still, I guess, impressive, though this is Google trying to do their thing. Now, they said they were trying to do real-world stuff, so were they on the fastest internet? I don't know, but it was still at Google, so you would assume it was still pretty good. So I think originally this project started in Japan, and then they brought it to other countries, but when you think about it, places like Japan or like South Korea, they have a much faster internet connection. Like their average internet connection is faster than basically the fastest stuff here in the United States for your average person. Never mind the average of the United States or other countries that's actually still pretty slow. Now their new platform, and I call it platform not console, is called the Stadia. Now this basically does what the Project Stream thing did. You download this software, you obviously pay Google for this, and you could have basically gaming anywhere you are, but it's reliant on an internet connection. And obviously that did not go well when the Xbox One launched. The whole thing of, oh, you have to be on the internet, that's a requirement now, did not go over well. A lot of people, they might be moving somewhere, they might be going to a hotel, they might be doing whatever it is, and they just want to play their game that has no need for an internet connection. They don't want something that can really only work with an internet connection. And even though that was a few years back, I don't think the technology is that much better now. Now, if you went to CES or if you watched some of the stuff on TV, you might know that the big thing regarding CES this year in Las Vegas was 5G. 5G is going to be the future. It's going to be everything. It's the Internet of Things. It's instant connectivity. It's instant data transfer. It's so fast, all this stuff. It seems great. Everyone in Silicon Valley, this is what they're buzzing about. So it's no surprise that Google's coming out with their new gaming platform, not console, that supersedes the need for a physical console because they think that 5G is going to be the next big thing and it's going to be able to handle all of this. And to that, while I agree, I'm sure 5G will be the future, I don't think we're anywhere close to that. The 4G infrastructure still really isn't all there. Never mind a 5G. Most people are still running on basic internet plans. 10 or 25 megabytes per second download speed. We're not close to even 4G speeds. Never mind a 5G, which our devices can't even handle that stuff yet. And on top of that, infrastructure to build it costs so much. Personally, this isn't the first time I've seen, Google come out with a product and then just go nowhere with it. Remember Google Glass? You got the glasses, you have the internet in your eye. What happened to that? Done. Google Plus, remember they were going to take on Facebook, the successor to MySpace. They were going to do all this stuff. Where's that? Gone. So Google has a history of getting into stuff, spending a bunch of money, saying it's the next big thing, and then nothing going on with it. And while I don't necessarily think that will happen with Stadia, I can definitely see it happening because the technology that it needs to rely on simply will not exist for the majority of people forever. basically. Now, the good thing about this new platform, since hardly anyone will actually be able to use it, I don't think it would actually cost Google, once the whole 5G network is up and running, a ton of money to say keep going. You know, there's not the manufacturing costs that are associated with, say, an Xbox One, PS4, Nintendo Switch. You know, that's not there. All they need is the software basically and fast internet. So I don't think it would be so bad if it was selling slow, which it would, because I don't think that really hurts them too much. You know, it's just like having a slow selling anything, but basically it doesn't cost you any more money to keep it going, right? So to see more exactly of what's going on with the Stadia, check out this commercial.
From the beginning of time, games have brought us together. Players and spectators. By the handful, the hundreds and the thousands.
Let's go, squad!
Dale, vamos, vamos, vamos.
Let's go!
Yes! Get him! Boom! Ah!
One place for all the ways we play. This is Stadia. Gather round.
So interesting commercial. I'm not really sure what they were kind of going for. There are very few details about this whole platform out, and this commercial doesn't give us any more other than, look, it's the new thing, but doesn't really tell exactly how it's going to work, anything like that. It is called the Stadia, which seems to be, as you see in the commercial, based off of, you know, the word stadium, so a place where everyone goes to game and all that. One of the things I think it's going to do with that, Google owns YouTube. Gaming on YouTube, watching people play, is huge. It's one of the biggest things YouTube has going for it right now, if not the biggest. So I think what might end up being the future, because all you need is a Chrome browser, and obviously YouTube is right there and people can click on links and do all that stuff. Where I see this going is basically, I'm on YouTube, I'm watching some gaming channel, they're doing a review on a game, I go ahead, look at the description, or, you know, it's highlighted, they say, you know, click up here to check this game out for me. You know, they really like the game. I go ahead, I click it, I can buy it instantly and instantly start playing it. Or even more crazy, you know, they're talking about a part in the game. Say you're watching a Let's Play and you're trying to figure out how to do something. Then you can go straight to that part in your own game just by clicking something, because all you need is maybe a browser, Google Chrome. I'm sure they'll put it across everything. Who knows, maybe not, they don't really need to. It's not like Google Chrome costs money to download. But you can kind of see where they're going with this. They're definitely thinking way off into the future, the near future, but not like next year or even the year after. But once this whole 5G is out, once it's up and running, these type of things will theoretically be possible. Maybe they work at CES and demos, maybe they work at Google headquarters or Microsoft headquarters, stuff like that. But we're really not seeing them work in real life yet. And that's usually when most of the problems come. So they'll have to be addressed once that comes out. So as I mentioned, there's very few details out. How exactly are you going to buy this? Is it going to be a single purchase like you do with an Xbox or a PlayStation? Or is it going to be a subscription-based service like you might have with Netflix? So that's unclear right now. They have their own controller, but according to what they're saying at the conference, you can also use any controller. Any controller that I assume could hook up to a computer would theoretically work, and that makes sense because you can use Xbox controllers right now with your PC. So that's not really far-fetched. Plus they also have other controllers out that mimic. So this is probably just a nicer version of that. But when you take a look at other things that they're advertising that not only will it be 1080p gaming, they're saying HDR surround sound, 60 frames per second, and they're also saying 4K. So this is coming all over the internet via, I assume, 5G, and they're going to stream 4K gaming. I mean, when you think about that, that's pretty crazy. So anyone who knows anything about uploading, downloading, 1080p, that could take a while. 4K is on another level. There's a reason why most YouTube videos aren't in 4K, because the poor uploaders, even with really fast internet, that would take forever forever, not just to render, but then the actual upload of it, and then the speeds at which you could watch it. I mean, we're talking about a ton of data usage here. And I know there's a lot of plans now that have unlimited data, all that, but I mean, we're talking about crazy amounts of data if everything was actually in 4K. We simply do not have the technology for that as it stands yet, like at all. And that's why I say this is the platform maybe for the future. Because right now, the infrastructure is not in place to do 4K streaming gaming, especially if you can stream it, upload it to your YouTube, which of course would be connected because it's all Google. It's just not there yet. It's a really cool idea, but it's just not there yet. They even said it could work in 8K, since 8K is coming. I mean, 4K TVs are already getting relatively inexpensive. Why? Because the new technology is already coming. 8K is coming, and people... in testing, some people have gotten a little bit uneasy with it. I mean, shoot, you go to a store, you look at a 4K TV, and you're like, oh my God, you could be face to face with the thing. And it looks clear, like you can't even see like the pixelization or anything. Now we're talking about 8K, which is gonna look so real, it's almost like real life. And some people apparently were queasy in testing, but obviously I want to take a look at it. But streaming in 8K? Are you kidding me? Technology, infrastructure, not even close to being able to handle 4K, never mind 8K. That being said though, the fact that it will be integrated with YouTube is huge because it's a huge incentive for content creators, say like myself, to go ahead and start doing whatever we can to create this video or whatever it is that hooks up into a game and then of course get paid doing that. Now, whether or not that aligns with the type of channel you're doing, with this one maybe not so much, but with streamers, totally. They could probably rake in tons of money. And YouTube rakes in tons of views, and then Google rakes in tons of advertising dollars, and finally YouTube starts to become profitable for Google, because as of right now, it's not. It's basically they lose a little bit of money, break even. That's generally what YouTube does for Google, but that's not really why Google has it. They don't have it to make a ton of money. They have it because maybe it's a platform to launch stuff like Stadia. In addition to the infrastructure not being there, and mainly me talking about the United States, I did mention the world. There's so many countries out there, countries that everything seems advanced, but the infrastructure for the internet is still really, really poor. I mean, they're not even on 3G speeds yet. And that's for when you're actually, plugged into the wall. It's just not there yet. It's really something for the future. And speaking of the future, it kind of seems like this is trying to be like the Netflix of gaming. People won't own their games. And similar to movies, I could see a problem with that. With games, you could just play for half an hour. The movie, you generally want to sit down for the 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours, whatever it is. But games, you could just play a little. But if your internet goes out, because everyone's internet goes out at some point, because it's not the most reliable thing in the world, it goes out and you're stuck. You don't own the games anymore. You don't even own a downloaded copy on your hard drive. With this, the cloud has the games. So if you can't access that, if you go away, whatever it is, you're kind of out of luck for your entire library of games. And I'm not sure how one would actually purchase them through Stadia, if it's going to be like a subscription like Netflix where you just get select games, whatever it is, or if it's just going to be kind of just the platform and you still purchase the game just like you purchase a game online and download it right now. It still costs you the $60, then you just start playing it on something else. The other thing that of course you'll miss, because everything's all in the cloud, you'll lose the ability to mod games, the ability to do all sorts of fun stuff with the games that we kind of take for granted now, especially with PC. You would lose that ability. So while I don't think the market for a hard copy of a game, or at least downloading it and having it stored somewhere on a hard drive, I don't think that's going to die out. This new way does represent, I would say, definitely a more casual future of gaming. But as I mentioned, I think it's so far off because the infrastructure isn't there, and that's going to take forever. Another thing that Google did, remember they wanted to start their whole Google Fiber? That was going to be the new high-speed internet for people. What happened? You put it in a few cities and then you gave up because you realized the infrastructure, it's going to cost you too much money to get what you want. And then funny enough, other cable companies like Cox Cable and a bunch of others, they go out there and now they're providing the same 1 gig speeds that you, Google, promised, and never delivered. And now you're totally out of that market, and the companies that actually know how to deal with the infrastructure, they took it over. So it just makes me wonder, is Google actually going to go through with this? Are they going to be patient enough to wait for that infrastructure? Because history has shown, whether it's something like Google Plus, Google Glass, or Google Fiber, they don't really stand by the product that they're necessarily working on now, just even a few years later. But let me know your thoughts about this whole Google Stadia thing. Do you think any point in the future it's going to come to fruition, or do you think this is a pipe dream from Google and we're never going to see it? Would you play using this platform? I know we know pretty much nothing about it, but that's all we have to go on. And 5G, when do you think we'll actually get the infrastructure for that will allow us to do things like use Google Stadia? Let me know down in the comment section below. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, hit me up on Twitter, and we'll catch you next time.